What is up? What is up? Happy Wednesday to all of you beautiful people tuning into this. It's your girl, Nana Badu, and you're on LinkedIn Live with Nana. And y'all, yes, double check your screen because the beautiful brown skin black girl magic that you see on your screen today is about to be personified over the next 45 minutes in this conversation, okay? Because we're talking about something that is on the hearts and minds of Black women, has been for so long, and is now getting even more shine and is now getting even more amplification across social media, especially on LinkedIn. So before I bust it down and get all up in the topic, y'all already know the deal. Drop up in the comments. Let us know that you're in the building. If you're catching us on the replay, drop that replay in because we love that too. Hey, Colette, good morning. How you doing? Because we definitely want to hear from you all in the chat about this conversation. Because if you are a Black woman, this conversation is for you. This conversation is literally for you. Okay, so we want to hear from you up in the comments about your experiences. Yeah, because this is our world. This is our world, our time, and this is all about our experience and how we can get to the next level and all the levels in our career. Hey, Vivian, how you doing? All right, y'all. So a lot of y'all already know the beautiful woman that's on that screen that y'all see, okay? But just for those who don't know who this genius woman is, this is your girl, Keisha Hicks. And this is my friend. Friend, F-R-E-N, friend, okay? And a couple other N's on the back of that, okay? Keisha Hicks is a phenomenal individual in spirit, I like to say, okay? She's a friend. And on the work tip, she's out in these streets just as an HR expert, career and mindset coach for phenomenal Black women and women of color. So I'm going to read her official bio, but that's the Nana Badu version, okay? But real talk, Keisha is an in-demand speaker and former HR executive. She's been called on to discuss a wide variety of topics, including career development, planning, and mindset shifts for HR professionals. Her insights on career transitions and DEI work have been featured in the Wall Street Journal, okay, and over a dozen podcasts in the last year alone. And she's doing the books and blogs nationwide. Listen, now she's sharing her secrets in helping ambitious female HR professionals land their dream jobs. Can we give it up wherever y'all are? Can we drop some hand claps in the chat for Keisha Hicks, please? What's up, girl?
Hey, friend. Hey.
What you doing?
Man, wait. Catch the melanin.
Y'all know we here for that. Soak it in. Soak it in. Soak it in. And I hope you looking at yourself in the mirror right now and soaking it in. Soak your melanin in this morning, okay? Good morning, Tiffany, Anika, Tashana, and all the LinkedIn users I see. I see y'all. All right, y'all. We're talking about all things Black women in the workplace around beauty and bias. Okay? Can we please just wear our crowns? Literally, our hair in its natural state or whatever state you decide to wear it in, and everything that comes with our natural magic, in whatever way that is, our talents, our gifts, our skills. Like, can we just be and breathe and exist and just bring ourselves to the workplace without feeling like we're under the microscope, right? So, a lot of you all may be familiar with the Crown Act. And the Crown Act was something that was created actually back in 2019. And it's all about ending hair discrimination. Okay. So the Crown is actually an acronym. It stands for Creating a Respectful and Open World for Natural Hair. So in 2019, Dove and the women behind the Crown Act came together in partnership with a senator in California, Senator Mitchell, to ensure protection against discrimination based on race-based hairstyles. So a lot of these hair texture and protective styles that we know and love, like braids, locks, twists, knots, all of these different hairstyles that we rock in the workplace and in public schools, they are putting legislation in place so that we cannot be discriminated against those things. Literally, being discriminated from something that grows naturally from your scalp. We got to go to legislation about this, y'all. It's wild. Okay. So the Crown Act has been going on for like 4 years now, but just recently, Dove and LinkedIn have partnered and are doing this campaign that's been, man, it has really been moving through the LinkedIn and social media streets over the past few days like wildfire. And phenomenal women in all walks of life are posting pictures of themselves, their black hair, just in their dopeness, right? And so we just want to shed a little bit of light. And if you're not familiar, I definitely encourage you. There's a link inside the description for this event to check out some of the stats on this stuff. Y'all. Okay. I'm going to just run down some of these stats. And Keisha, like, get with me on these stats, girl, because the stats is wild. So Dove and LinkedIn did a workplace research study. And they found that Black women's hair is 2 to 2.5 times more likely to be perceived as unprofessional. 2.5 times more likely to be perceived as unprofessional in its natural state. If you have ever felt like your hair was unprofessional or ever had somebody tell you at work that your hair was unprofessional, please drop me in the chat. And if you want to go so far as give your testimony, put in the chat. Keisha, talk to me. Come on, you got your hand up. Talk to me. Talk to me about your own personal experiences with hair and all that people think and like to assume about hair when it comes to the workplace.
I mean, this is really, I just have a problem with this, right? Like fundamentally, I have a problem with it because my hair is beautiful. Your hair is beautiful.
Say it.
Right. And to think that this makes me 2.5 times more likely to be deemed as unprofessional, even though I have a master's degree, certifications, all this stuff behind me. Like that to me is very sad. But I do understand that it is in fact real, right? I've been asked, "Oh, is that your hair?" Right? Like, how do you get your hair like that? And heaven forbid I change it up or put it in some twists or something like that. It's like, why is your hair like that? Do you ever think to change your hair? I've been asked that. How often do you change your hair? It's, to me, that's a crazy, crazy conversation to have. And I don't know. I just think that it's sad to me that we are in a space where that's just what it is. I call her, and I see Colette is in the chat. I call her Virginia. So Virginia's doing her thing today. So, but yeah, it's to me, it's a sad experience. And I know that from an HR perspective, I know that it's real. I know that it happens. So thinking about that, and just thinking about kind of your own story about your crown experience, right? Thinking about you personally in the chat, how do you feel about that? How does that make you feel to know that if you are wearing your hair in its natural state, that you are in fact 2.5 times more likely to experience some type of discrimination, or somebody's going to feel as though your hair is not professional? Who were they doing that at? Like, I don't even know. I don't even know where they doing that at.
Girl, and listen, you already know and that starts acting crazy.
It's okay. We're going to keep it moving. Every time, right?
Oh, this is so wild.
Yeah.
Can you see and hear me okay?
I can hear you.
You can hear me. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, y'all. Y'all already know when you're trying to say something real, that's when people start saying,
block, right?
That means it's gonna be real good. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Okay, but you can hear me, but you can't see me well.
We can hear you. Totally can hear you.
Okay, but can't see me. Okay, well, I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna keep it moving, even though
Yeah,
that's happening, because I'm just want the conversation to flow.
yeah.
Um, so listen, y'all. Like Keisha was saying, and I know I missed the tail end of what you were sharing around your own experience
Mhm.
with hair being something that's labeled as unprofessional. But this, like you said, the simple fact that that's something that happens, that exists. You've been in HR
Yep.
for decade plus,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
What do you see around the experiences for Black women when it comes to the impact of them getting hired for jobs,
Mhm.
being on interviews?
Mhm.
How does this discrimination around hair play into the hiring practices?
Oh, okay. So here's the thing that it starts early, right? It starts even in the resume process. Um, People can't even see your hair in the resume process, right? But it's the fact that they can see your name, they can see whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it starts there. And so I am and have been oftentimes when I'm in the space where I have the opportunity to screen resumes and pass them on to hiring managers or talk with
Mm-hmm.
folks around positions that they're trying to fill, I'm very careful to protect the identities of folks,
Right.
right? Because I'm like, I don't know who this person is, but here's what I will tell you. Okay. And this is the straight up, straight down truth because I've
Mm-hmm.
done it. And that's how I know it's the truth. And I know that people do it.
Mm-hmm.
People may get your resume, but I'm going to tell you what they do. Okay.
Oh,
They slide right on over to LinkedIn and they look for you on LinkedIn.
yeah.
They slide right on over to social media, right? Any other social media, Instagram,
Mm-hmm.
Facebook, and they look for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you can't help it. You can't help it, right? And so sometimes like what they see from your
Mm-hmm.
profile picture impacts it. They won't say it because they know not to say that, right?
Mm.
But being I know what I know being from around the way, like as long as I have been, right? I
Right.
know this.
Right.
Um because I had a situation where a young lady whose name didn't like was a very ambiguous name. You couldn't understand what she was.
Mm.
However, I knew what she was because I knew where she came from, right?
Mm.
I know how her resume got passed to me.
Okay.
Dope chick. Um, Resume on point. Run
Right.
circles around anybody that they were on the interview panel.
Right.
I got told, oh, well, I don't think she'll really fit in for this particular role.
Huh.
Now, granted, I was fortunate to be able to sit in the right seat, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody is a Keisha Hicks and that gets sit in the right seat at that time.
Yeah.
But I was in a seat where I could say, okay, wait a minute, explain to me why she wouldn't, right?
Right.
And it had nothing to do with her characteristics on her resume, but everything to do with who she was.
Yeah.
Well, she this and she that. And later it was revealed that they went and looked her up on social media and they saw different things. And one of the comments was, well, she wears her hair in a lot of different ways. One day she
And
got red
what does
hair,
that have to do
one day
with
she got
her
this,
work?
and so we think that might throw people off. And I said, okay, I tell you what, that's not a valid
That's
enough excuse.
listen. What? Y'all getting this tea. Y'all getting this tea that Keisha's putting down right now, because she is literally peeling the curtain back on
Yeah,
hiring practices and real conversations that people are having.
real conversations.
That's
Real
wild.
conversations. It's super wild. And I just was like, but what if I had not have been in that seat to
Right.
advocate for her? Now she ended up, interviewing. She did really well. She got the jobs, all these things, right? But it's
Yeah.
like, what if I had not been there to advocate for her? And I can't probably even imagine the countless times where that has happened where there was not somebody in the
Absolutely.
room to advocate for somebody.
Absolutely. And see, and this is like, whoa, so many different things with this example real life example, y'all, that Keisha has just shared.
Mhm.
Like, one, the importance of representation and having people in leadership positions. So if you are with a company or organization and you're in HR or you're in any kind of C-suite or executive position, these are the reasons why you need to back up what you say around diversity, equity, and inclusion. This is the reason, because there are plenty of candidates who are out here who are extremely qualified, but at face value, somebody sees them and can't see themselves in that person, or has a predisposed identity or description around what professional is supposed to look like, and immediately, boom, you're knocked off the opportunity. Right? For nothing else. Nothing. You don't even get called in for the interview. Nothing. Okay. So if we don't have people like Keisha, other people who are going to think, to be able to ask the questions and say, so why do you think that that person won't, quote unquote, fit in? Like, I need you to break that down. Like, is that based in truth, or is that based in your bias? Is that based in your racism? Is that based in your discrimination? Listen, y'all, if you know some truth is being dropped, drop truth in the comments, okay? And I'm seeing the testimonials come through from you all here in the chat all the way in. Kamasha said, I've heard the "you change your hair a lot" comment. My response has always been to turn the conversation around and show my receipts that have no bearing on my hairstyle.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting because in the study that Dove and LinkedIn did, they also noted that approximately 2/3 of Black women change their hair for a job interview. Among them, 41% change their hair from curly to straight. Black women are 54% more likely to feel like they have to wear their hair straight to a job interview to be successful.
Yeah.
I've heard this time and time again with the clients I work with, and I know you have.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I have several of my clients in my programs that, I mean, are beasts, right? Like, got all the letters before and sometimes after their names, right?
Yeah.
And when they apply for roles, they think, and they are really convinced that they must straighten their hair in order to be accepted. And so much so that they have even started to track it themselves, and like, you know what? When I show up with my hair in its natural state, or if I'm in braids or whatever, I don't get the same reaction. I don't get the callbacks. But if I show up with my hair straight, then yes. And and I think sometimes too, whenever I have been in positions where, not necessarily for interviews, but positions to be on certain areas, certain panels, certain whatever, I think that I don't have the look, and that's what we think of, the look. And I'm like, well, I'm sorry. I this is what it is, right? Unless you want to come and straighten this hair every day and deal with this head every day. Like, oh ma'am, we going how it came out my scalp.
That's it. And really, sorry, not sorry, because I have nothing to apologize about.
Right. And
how about that?
And it's what it is. But several of my clients, and so, but here's what I say to them often. It's like, but is that really who you are? Because are you then going to wear your hair straight every single day to work? No.
Is that really who you are?
Right. And what's going to happen when somebody rolls through or catches you in the grocery store or catches you in your natural element, and you don't, now you showing up as your representative, and here we go, code switching and all different.
Come on. Did y'all hear it? Listen, are you showing up as your representative? Let me tell you that's the most exhausting thing.
Yeah.
Is code switching and constantly feeling like you have to adjust the way you look, the way you sound, the way you act, simply because you think that other people will open the pearly gates to career success and say, well, come on in.
But Nana, can I throw out kind of a disruptive piece here?
Go.
You know what's sad though, is it's such a systemic oppressive thought that I've been told by older Black women, you need to do something with your hair. right?
Let's pause and sit in that. Yes. It's real. It's
Yeah.
absolutely real. It's generational. I mean, similarly, and really, it's
Mhm.
for me. It's come from family.
Yeah.
Okay, along my journey of you like, aren't you gonna comb your hair? It
Mhm.
is combed. It is styled. This
Mhm.
is the style,
Mhm.
right? And
Mhm.
so, I mean, that's such a good point, Keisha, because honestly, for Black women, like, this is why this conversation is so layered.
Yeah.
Like, by the time we get to work, we don't already had to go through how I feel about myself,
Mhm.
right? In
Mhm.
my own four walls in my own bedroom,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And then you got to go through the layers of family
Mhm.
and hear what people have to say and what judgments they're going to have to make about your hair and just how you look in general. And then after I do those 2 rounds, then you tell me I got to get to work
Yeah.
and have somebody make commentary about this.
Yeah.
It's too much.
It's too
It's
much.
too much.
It's too much. And those same, and I mean, I've seen it even in the workplace, older Black women, like, you gonna wear that? Like, you're not gonna do something with that? And I'm like,
Right.
no, ma'am, I'm not gonna wear that good peak sponge roller to bed at night. And so my hair can be perfectly curled with
Right.
with that bergamot and that pressing. I'm not getting ready to do all that. I'm not doing that.
Got it. Right.
No, right?
Right.
But that's our reality, right? Because of the systemic oppression that it comes with this, right?
Absolutely.
And it's like, this is what's getting passed down. So it's like with my daughter, I'm like, look, you want to wear your hair in braids, you want to wear your hair, you wear your hair wherever. But I will tell you, even with her, right?
Mm-hmm.
She is
Mm-hmm.
in preschool, and like, she'll have her hair in twists with her little barrettes. And she got little kids, non-Black kids, coming up, taking
Mm-hmm.
barrettes out her hair, touching on her hair like she's an experiment or something. And so I had to have the conversation to say, our hair is an extension of our bodies,
There it is.
right? Cool, admire it, but don't touch it.
Thank and and okay. And this is like
Mhm.
so many things on this.
Mhm.
Like, especially for the young babies coming behind us, because
Mhm.
if we're looking at some of our, Black female elders, and we see y'all in the workplace and you might be doing things well, or you came up during a different time,
Yeah.
right? Where you really were forced to conform. Where, like, the sheer image of you didn't have any imagery thrown
Right.
at you that said, oh, you're brown skin, you're dark skin, curly hair.
Mhm.
Oh no, that's nappy and that's ugly. That's what
Yeah.
you got, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, our generation and the generations after us, millennials, Gen Z, etc., like, you all, like, I mean, that is the one area of a blessing, or just even
Mhm.
something favorable that comes out of the internet and comes out of social media, is that you can see so many more examples of women like yourself. Like, the ability to see Keisha and I right now,
Yeah.
two brown skinned girls,
Yeah.
curly hair, natural, talking about this subject, is something that was unheard of to our ancestors.
Yeah.
Unheard of.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So as we think about our kids, and just even young people, young professionals coming into the workplace, because I have so many clients who will say, Nana, there's a space here for young
Mhm.
professionals entering the workplace. And they're coming in. Some people are coming in like, you know what? I don't care.
Mhm.
Unapologetic, demanding what I want. And others are like, I'm not sure. Is
Yeah.
this okay? There's still that area of uncertainty that's seeking out permission
Yeah.
about how you show up. Um, and the chat is on fire. Listen, y'all, we see
I'm
y'all.
seeing
I
this.
want to. I just want to let y'all know that we see you.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
Um, and it's so funny, like, I really do hope that this conversation, um, gets seen and is a source for Black women to get uplifted and inspired. I
Yeah.
also hope that for white people that are listening and watching, and other non people of color, but especially my white colleagues, that this conversation is something that opens your eyes and opens your perception to the experience of Black women in the workplace.
Yeah.
And I hope that you are able to just sit and listen and receive it
Mhm.
and not question, well, is that really what happens? Or, well, I'm just interested. So that's why I want to touch the hair in your barrettes. The reason why this conversation is happening and why this subject is at the place where we're trying to get national legislation passed around it is because it has one, like Keisha said, severe systemic. We're talking about centuries worth of oppression
Yeah.
that is now being manifested in this way.
Yeah.
And it deeply affects people. People are depressed about this.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
affects your ability to feel like your self-worth is at a
Mhm.
state that you feel good when you look in the mirror. There's so many different layers to this. So don't dismiss it.
Mhm.
Don't brush it off. Don't
Mhm.
undermine it.
Mhm.
Just sit and listen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, okay, let's get into your own journey,
Yeah.
Keisha,
Yeah.
because a lot of people might say, well, listen, how'd y'all get there? Because there's plenty of folks listening to this conversation and they're like, I hear y'all, but like I do feel like I need to straighten my hair.
Mhm. Mhm.
I do feel like when I'm in certain spaces, like I can't present, I can't present Nana on the weekends
Mhm.
during the day and in the workplace.
Mhm.
So share a bit about your own journey
Yeah.
of how your confidence and your acceptance and how you bring your authentic self to your work, how
Yeah.
that evolved.
Okay. I will start by saying I have had completely for real natural hair since 2008. Okay.
Mhm.
So quite a while, right? And I remember when I cut my hair off, right? My hair was probably as short as yours, not when I cut it off. I was like,
Mm,
get all of it, like whatever's there, get it all out, and we'll just regrow it.
right.
So at the time when I did that, I was much younger, not much younger.
Girl, you still flackable.
Okay, okay. I was much younger, right? You think about that, that was 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And things were different because here's the thing, 15 years ago, people were kind of stepping out and being natural, but you saw that like in some of the major cities, right? You didn't
Right.
really see it like as this broad sweeping thing. And the people
Right.
that I knew outside of that were natural, but they pressed their hair, right?
Mm,
And that's
mm-hmm.
what I did a lot. Like I wasn't one of those creamy crack, I'm gonna call it what it is, people like every 6 weeks, right? I was like, twice a year type deal. And
Yeah.
so, but for the most part, I wore it straight because that's what
Right.
I thought. And so in 2008, I actually was working for government at the time.
Okay.
And
Mm.
I was working in the government and I was like, okay, I'm gonna cut this hair off, right? Government down south. Oh, it was very interesting.
Now wait. Now what prompted you? Why did you say I'm gonna cut this hair off?
Well, the thing is that you know what? For me, it was like it was liberating. I had went through. I always say, and I tell my clients this: it's like sometimes we go through significant emotional events that then trigger us to do different things in our lives, right? Whether it be
Mhm.
something joyous or not. But I just went through an
Mhm.
event where I wanted to shed off what was my prior self and everything
Mhm.
associated with it. So let me cut this hair off. That was part of it, right?
Mhm.
My strength was not in my hair. Okay. Because I had that long hair, that long, pink sponge roller Easter hair. Okay.
Mhm.
Anyway, and so I went to go when I was working for the government. It was my second year working for the government, and I was in a space where I was traveling around the state training people.
Mhm.
And I ain't had no choice but to wear the big earrings and all the makeup because I'm like, I ain't got no hair now. I can't
No.
hide behind my hair.
Ooh.
That was the thing is that I was able to hide behind my hair, right? When it was longer and all the things and
Oh
here I
wow.
was traveling around this brown skin in this state that I live in, right? And was
Right.
traveling around and sometimes it wasn't so user friendly, right?
I use it.
And sometimes people would even ask me like they would say, they would question my sexual orientation because I cut my hair off. Like this is the ignorance of it, right? And so it
Ah,
was like, and I'm like, what? Just because I cut my hair off?
Hair.
Like, what are we doing right now? And why do you feel so free to ask me this? Like,
Oh,
why do you
the
feel like you need to,
the audacity levels.
But then it was like I kept getting met with all these things, right? From just corporate spaces. But then it was
Mhm.
like, then my family's like, are you going through something? Like, what's wrong? Like, I'm like, I just wanted to set it all off. And
Right.
so at that point, I contemplated like maybe let me go put I could listen, it wasn't nothing to sew in because it was too short to sew anything in because you couldn't even catch it
Right.
and braid it. So it was like, okay, do I wear a wig? Like, what do I do? And I just was like, you know what? Bump it. I'm just gonna own it. And that's
Bump
just
it.
what
I'm
I
gonna
did.
own
And
it.
I owned it and I learned how to work with it.
Yes.
And it wasn't even a lot of products. I was trying to be a product junkie and I was trying to
Right.
follow people on YouTube and figure out how to do this thing that was on my head that I just really didn't understand. Because that's the thing,
Right.
nobody taught me really how to even do it. So it's like, when you show up in
Ooh.
spaces, especially as I was matriculating in my career and going up the ladder, it's like, man, okay, I'm in this leadership role, but I gotta have my head looking like something, right? And I would remember my grandmother would always be like, "You
Wow.
can't be running around here with your hair looking like rats been sucking on it," right? And I'd be like, "What does that mean?" Like
Wait a minute.
my hair.
Wait a minute.
Yes, she would say
Wait a
that. Like,
minute.
you can't be running around here with looking like rats been sucking on your head. And I'm like, but I like it. And
Oh
so
my gosh.
it was figuring out, what to do. And I remember at one point in time, like when it was growing back out, the grow out period for anybody that's natural, y'all know what I'm talking about. But I was like, I don't know what to do with it. And so then I'll put it in braids. And then that was when I got, oh, you change your hair a lot. Like, is that your hair? Like, I'm like, then my response was, it's mine because I paid for it. So then I
Right.
just got to the point where I was a lot slicker in my mouth back then.
Mhm.
Right. And I
Mhm.
just was like, I just started to own it. But I really embodied that good indie Irish song. I'm not my hair, right? Like,
Yeah.
and so when I would walk into spaces, I really made it about who I was and not my appearance. And
Mm.
so that's just kind of what happened. And then it got to the point where I was like, no, I'm not straightening my hair. I think the last time I actually straightened my hair was probably like 2 years ago during like when the pandemic first started, because I think everybody
Mhm.
was playing beauty shop then.
Right, right,
You couldn't
right.
go outside. So I was like, well, let me straighten it and try. And I was like, what am I doing straight hair? I don't even know what to do with it no more. So that's kind of where I was. I mean, and I just owned it.
Yeah.
I just owned it. And I'm like, now this is what you get. And every day Virginia's gonna do what she does. And some days
Come
Virginia's gonna
on.
look right, and some days she's gonna look a hot mess, and that's okay.
Come on. And we gonna name her Virginia.
We're gonna name her Virginia.
Virginia looking beautiful today.
Thank you. Thank
Okay.
you. Virginia showed up today. She showed
She
up. She
showed
showed up.
up. She
She showed
showed
up.
up. Oh my God. This story is so rich. The
Yeah.
story is so rich. Like
Yeah.
I know y'all see yourselves and hear yourselves as Keisha was sharing. Um, you know what? When you talked about, two things. One, when you made that realization of I am not my hair. My
Yeah.
power is not in my hair,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Like that personal declaration can be
Mm-hmm.
so freeing,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Like to unlock the limiting beliefs, the
Yeah.
struggles, the doubts, the naysayers.
Yeah.
It's and it so starts with you
Yeah.
because you being hung up and thinking that, well, my power is in these long locks,
Mm-hmm.
and if I don't have them, I'm less
Yeah.
beautiful,
Yeah.
smart, attractive,
Yeah.
interesting,
Yeah.
everything, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
that's something. Listen, y'all. Like when people try to come for you out in these streets,
Mm-hmm.
please tap in. Find your personal mantra.
Yeah.
Find your personal mantra. Find that. Listen, and if it's got to be that quick back, well, I bought it and it's mine. Like, cause I done said that and done lived that too many times to people. Trust
Yeah.
me. And I'm like, it just has to be like the same level of conviction that somebody has to be able to question, ask you, challenge you about your hair.
Yeah.
Don't cower to that.
Yeah.
right? Because
Yeah.
sometimes I think as Black women, sometimes then all of a sudden it's like, ooh, they showing a spotlight on that. They talking about my hair. So, oh man, I do change my hairstyles a lot. Shoot, maybe I should just, stick with this good old weave and just rock that. Or
Mhm.
I don't know if I can get the box braids because they gonna have something to say. If Michelle couldn't have them in the White House, who am I? Like you, okay? Like
Right.
this is
Right.
just very real. And
Right.
so, but as those thoughts and as people's opinions are coming at you,
Mhm.
listen, get that shield up. Get that shield up and just be like, boop, 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 boop,
Yep.
interference. You ain't gonna get in here. You ain't
Yep.
gonna get in here. It's literally that. Like
Mhm.
you have literally have to build yourself up,
Yeah.
because when Keisha was talking about owning it, like that's what I felt. I felt you owning it,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. 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 And I ain't gonna lie, I ain't know how to wear a wig no way, right? So I was like, look, we gonna have to work this thing out because it is what it is. Ain't no going back. I'm gonna have to wait for this thing to grow back. And
Right.
I was just like, you know what? I might as well own it and really lead with who I am, like who I am and what I bring to the table. Because again,
Yes.
people will make so many, and I've learned this just being in HR, people make so many assumptions about who you are. They make so many assumptions. And
Yes.
here's the thing, black, white, purple, green, everybody makes assumptions.
Yes.
Everybody has a bias. We all do, right? Like I was on a panel and we were talking about locks and how some people, black folks, have said to other black folks, like, locks are not professional, locks aren't clean. And I'm like, have I ever thought that? Maybe, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or if somebody's fro ain't shaped just right, does that mean that they're not professional? Like, everybody has a bias,
Yeah.
right?
Absolutely.
And I think that we just have to keep it real and say, yeah, we recognize that and
Yeah.
know that, with that being the case, knowing that you yourself have a bias, people may have a bias that may be that may allow them to stereotype you. I think that
Yeah.
the best thing that you can do is, to your point, Nana, always is to know who you are and to lead with who you are. And again, not hide behind, the jewelry, the makeup, the whatever. I mean, that is always a part of your style and always a part of your brand. But ultimately, it's, Nana, you say it best, it's like an inside out deal, right? And it
Absolutely.
has to start from inside. And regardless, I mean, because you think about it, I mean, heaven forbid, if you were sick and you had to go to chemo and you lost all your hair, you still be you,
Come on.
right? If you have, for all my sisters that have alopecia and lose their hair, like, you still are you.
Yes.
You still are beautiful regardless,
Yes.
right? It
Absolutely.
doesn't take away what you know, what you do. It's an extension of you,
Yes.
just like anything else. And so I mean, that's why I support this whole thing. Like, I'm like, don't knock people just because of an extension of them. Know
Yes.
who they are for real.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Girl, I want to like jump up and down and do praise shout and do and dance.
Hmm.
Um
Hmm.
because that's literally it,
Yeah.
like you said, it's so much about you being comfortable with yourself,
Yeah.
and then you take it to the next level and being celebratory of yourself.
Hmm. Hmm.
Like you got to
Hmm.
have some deep unwavering, like, you know what, bump
Yeah.
all of these folks and all the things that they have to say.
Yeah.
Because like you said, everybody has bias. We have bias. I got bias about everything and things
Hmm.
that are happening within our own communities,
Hmm.
right? Like we constantly locks, no, not
Hmm.
professional, don't
Hmm.
wear them, it's messy, it's dirty, yada yada yada,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
so how do that's a question for yourself. Like what biases are coming up for you in this department and what do
Yeah.
you need to challenge?
Yeah.
Especially as that relates to what's defined as what is or isn't professional,
Hmm.
because a lot of times that's just what comes back to it. And
Hmm.
so
Hmm.
everybody in their mind, they hear the word professional, and a lot of times some archetype comes up,
Yep.
right? And we
Yep.
see the archetype with the gray suit, and okay, you got to have, if you're a male, you got to have a low, fade, right? Or got to have a low cut to the head. Oh, if
Hmm.
you're a woman, you got to have that short bob, right?
Hmm.
And some pearl earrings and a pearl necklace. And
Hmm.
it's like, listen, yeah, that might be what professional looks like for somebody. Absolutely. Do your
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Also, there might be somebody else over here
Yeah.
who's got box braids in a beautiful African print skirt and a
Yeah.
blouse. And
Yeah.
she's also professional,
Yeah.
right? Like, expansion. Let's expand what this is and how we
Mhm.
look at it.
Mhm.
Um, but you really can't, I think personally, on a personal level, like your testimony, you got to know yourself. You
Yeah.
really do. Like, that's the only way. Anything you do about style, anytime I work with my clients, I'm talking about you, because style is personal,
Yeah.
right? It's
Yeah.
so personal. It's
Yeah.
not about the fashion. It's not really even about the clothes. It is
Right.
so much about the person, how you see yourself, and how you want to feel when you walk out into the world. It
Yeah.
really is that.
Yeah.
Because if you're feeling good, oh, no question, you're gonna have joy coming out. You're gonna be like, okay, well, what style we doing today?
Yeah.
Oh, like, it just all connects. But
Yeah.
if you beating yourself up on the inside,
Yeah.
forget about it. When the other people come with the bias, that's just gonna stack up. It's just
Yeah.
gonna stack up.
Yeah. 100%.
This is wow. Okay. Um, this conversation one could go on for like 2 hours, y'all. But we gonna start. We gonna start. You see, this is our
What?
wrap
But
up.
here's the thing, Nana.
Wrap.
Okay, come on now. This is what I'm thinking.
Ooh,
This might be another conversation for us to have. And maybe we do it in a more intimate setting, because sometimes when you're out here in these main
ooh.
streets, you don't feel safe enough psychologically to say what you need to say.
Yes.
So
Yes.
this may be an opportunity for us to figure out how to collab. I'm putting it out here on Front Street
Come
for us
on.
to collab on a
Listen.
more private note on how to do these things.
If you're feeling what Keisha just said, drop collab in the chat. If you
Thanks.
want to see this conversation continue, because I know I do.
Yeah.
And to Keisha's point, that this might be you right now. You might be sitting in your office with your headphones in, just
Mhm.
listening and nodding and
Mhm.
just making ugly faces at the screen, like, mm.
Mhm. Mhm.
But
Mhm.
you aren't in a space where you feel comfortable
Yeah.
sharing,
Yeah.
right? But
Yeah.
you need to share,
Yeah.
because with us, with our experience, you have to have community.
Yeah.
You have to have the space where you can say what's on your mind, because it's through that
Yeah.
that you're going to get to the space where you feel more comfortable, in the space where you can celebrate yourself and show
Mhm.
up. And some of the things that people say about you and their judgments are going to roll a lot easier off the shoulder, because
Yeah.
you know who you are and you stand, how you say, Keisha, flat footed.
Flat-footed in that thing.
Say it. You
Stand
stand
flat-footed.
flat footed in that thing. Okay.
Mhm.
I'm seeing a
Mhm.
bunch of collabs coming out. I'm seeing big old capital collabs and exclamation points coming through.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right, good people. We don't heard y'all. We don't heard y'all.
Yeah.
Um,
So stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Stay
Yeah.
tuned all the way. I love it so much.
Mhm. Mhm.
So kind of like, in closing, Keisha, like, you help women advocate for themselves
Sure.
all the time through
Yep.
the work that you do,
Yep.
right? I mean, you happen to focus on HR professionals, but
Yep.
really and truly, you are advocating for women
Yep.
and helping women be empowered as their best self,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, for the woman who's listening to this conversation and she's experienced bias,
Mhm.
she's afraid of wearing her hair natural. She's had somebody tell her she's ugly.
Yeah.
She's been rejected time after time. And her resume is not going anywhere, but is in desperate need of a new job.
Yeah.
What do you say to her? What kind of guidance do you offer her to help her advocate for her worthiness in the workplace?
Um, Stop worrying about external validation. Let's first work on internal validation. And the first way to do that is, baby, pull your own receipts.
Mm.
You got them. Okay. Because true story, probably the work that you've been doing, you overqualified for it anyway.
Oh,
Real talk. And you know that you are. And it's not that you are undervalued, because many of you right now, you working like a dog anyway. They gonna keep giving you
oh,
work because they value you. It is, in fact, that you're unappreciated and maybe perhaps underpaid as a result. So, what I would say to you, first and foremost, is pull your own receipts and let those things fortify you and build up the confidence so that you can see specifically what you have done. And I will say this too, sometimes the trauma that we go through, and trauma is big, small, and in between, but sometimes trauma will not let us see truly what we've done. And we will see it as, I've just done my job, right? I'm just doing my job. But there are a lot of people who just do their job and you could run circles around them. Okay.
Yeah.
So really take the time, sit down with it, get you a good playlist going. This is what I like to do.
Right.
Pull out your good journal and just start writing out everything that you have done, that the impact that you have made, so that you can see the value that you bring. Because if you can't see it, it ain't gonna come across on a resume. It's not gonna come across on a LinkedIn profile, and it's for sure not gonna come across when you interview. Right. But that is the biggest way to build up your confidence. And then go find you some fly to wear. I'm just saying, whether it be a lip gloss, an earring, I don't know. But go find you something. Holla at Nana for that. I don't know. But I'm just trying to make
you nailed it. You nailed it.
I'm saying. Like, but seriously, that's what I would say. Like, and don't give up on that. You know what I'm saying? It's like, but first of all, know what you're working with.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Tell the good people how they can find you if they want to work with you, if they've been moved and they're like, Keisha need to help me get my whole life together. Tell them how they can find you and what you want them to do.
Yeah. Okay. So I play around in these LinkedIn streets a whole lot now. Yes, I have Facebook and Instagram, but I don't play around over there for real. It's just for looks and feels. But if you want to find me, definitely connect with me on LinkedIn, Keisha Hicks on LinkedIn. I got a few communities that I run over there that I would invite you to come into, where we just share more. But definitely there's a lot of content that I push out on a regular basis on LinkedIn, like last week with Nana. So definitely make sure that you are catching up with me there. If you are wanting to have more conversations around how your personal journey, how I can help you from a career standpoint, or if you're looking for me to like open up my mouth and run my mouth in some kind of speaking or training, definitely hit your girl up on LinkedIn, right? I'm definitely going to be able to see it there. You can definitely send me a DM over there. But if you're looking for me on Facebook and Instagram, you'll find me. But yeah, you're gonna miss me in these streets. Definitely find me on LinkedIn though.
I love it. Yeah, y'all listen, don't be shy.
No.
Send that connection request, send that DM to Keisha. Yeah. Tell her that you watched this and let her know. Let her know how she shifted your mind, made you put your shoulders up, made you get excited, made you take a deep breath. Like, woo! Like, tell her how this impacted you. Give her her flowers, and just connect and get that good community. Okay.
Yeah.
I thank you, sis. This was a phenomenal conversation. And from what the people said, this is just part one of how many parts I don't even know. But
I don't know. Like, we might just see what this thing do. We just see what it do.
Listen, because we on Issa Rae vibes. Listen, we just want y'all to win.
That's it. People win. That's it. That's all. That's all. We just want you to win.
That's it. So listen, y'all, have a fabulous Wednesday, and we're gonna be seeing y'all. Okay. All right. Peace.